My name's Liz. I am a coach and a facilitator as a background. And I, together with my partner, run a business called Becoming, which is about taking acceptance and commitment therapy, the principles of it, into the workplace to help women to live and lead unapologetically as themselves. And we do that through development programs, we do it through coaching, we do it through consultancy work with women's networks, all sorts of things. Yeah, we get that question a lot. Why women and are they different? And the simple answer is no, men and women are not different. They are equally capable, equally ambitious, equally confident. They're not different. But different things do happen to women. So, whether that's different life experiences, so how we're brought up, the different physical experiences we have, menstruation, menopause, fertility, child, family situations, whether it's the different societal expectations. So we have all sorts of gendered assumptions about the roles that women play in life, generally in society, but also then in organisations. So we have different organisational experiences as well as women. Did you know it takes longer for a woman to make CEO because they have to work for longer and take more roles than a male equivalent? And they also face, there's a really lovely study about something called the double bind, the social double bind. So a woman, it's much harder for a woman to be seen as both competent and likable. So a woman who is highly competent is often not liked, and a woman who's very liked is often not considered to be competent. So it is the result of all of that is that the outcomes for women are different, and that's why we have things like gender pay gaps. We have a lack of women in senior roles in boards, all those kind of outcomes. So no, the simple answer to your question is women and men are not different, but because different things happen, they have different outcomes. I believe it's helpful to women to support them with those different outcomes. But I think the way that we do it at the moment is quite flawed. So I think a lot of women's development gives an implicit message that women are in some way less than. Often the kind of messages there needs to be more something, more assertive, more influential, more impactful, more something. Or we tend to imply that they're wrong, they don't do something right, they need to learn to negotiate or they need to learn to influence. Or one of my bugbears is the idea that women suffer with something. So we seem to have given imposter syndrome to women, and I can't bear it. I don't like it. I think it's trying to label women with something that makes them weak or broken when actually it is inherently human to have thoughts about I'm not good enough, or people won't believe that I've done this, or whatever those imposter thoughts and feelings are. So firstly, I don't like the word syndrome, okay, because I think we're medicalizing it, and it's not a recognized disorder. But when we medicalize it, we make it a lot bigger than it is. And I think it would be really helpful just to describe it as I have some imposter thoughts and feelings. It would make it much more manageable for people. I also don't like the fact that it gets confused with people feeling like they're not confident, okay, because the two are very separate things. So when you have imposter thoughts and feelings, essentially what you're saying is, I don't believe that people kind of understand my competence. I believe that people are overestimating me. That's what you're saying, which is not the same as a lack of confidence, which is about how confident you feel within yourself. And then I think I said it just now, we seem to have given imposter syndrome to women, which is just not true. So men and women equally can have thoughts that other people are overestimating them. That's just human. The theme of International Women's Day this year of accelerate action, I absolutely agree we do need to take action. And so anything really that's about helping women, if those women find it helpful, then great. But we've been doing women's programs, we've been giving women access for decades, and progress is really slow. In fact, in some places, it's going backwards. So we're coming at it from a different angle, and I truly believe it's helpful. So we're taking the principles of acceptance and commitment therapy, and we're using them in the workplace to equip these women to live and lead unapologetically as themselves. And I think what we're doing then is we're accelerating action. So to go back to the hashtag, because we're equipping those women to act for themselves. Well, so for me, the simplest version of ACT is that ACT does three things. So firstly, it teaches leaders to accept those thoughts and feelings rather than fighting against them. And we have women who come in with all sorts of thoughts and feelings. So they often talk about feeling self-doubt or lots of self-critical thoughts or the imposter thoughts and feelings, which we've just covered, right? So we work with those. ACT is then also about helping people to stay present. And that can be really helpful when they're women who are needing to speak up in the moment or deal with big conflict or make big decisions. Women in very senior roles, being able to stay present is really helpful to them. And then the bit that feels most important to me, although it's all important, is that ACT is about helping people to take action towards their own values, their core values. And so the difference then between us and other women's programs is we're not trying to teach these women to lead in a certain way. We're not saying if you did it like this, you would be successful. We're saying what's important to you, and then what's the style or what's the how you're going to do it that's going to get you there. So then it's authentic and it's really aligned to them as a person. One of my favorite things, we do all sorts of things in all sorts of programs, but one of my favorite bits of work is when we talk about the inner critic. So if you relate it back to ACT, what we're doing is we're personifying, we're giving an identity to those thoughts and feelings, and it's a diffusion technique. But lots of women come to the program having heard about the inner critic because it's very popular on social media. Lots of programs kind of use it as a term, but our approach to it's really different. So we had one woman who came along who said, "Oh, yeah, I've already learned how to deal with my inner critic. It's my monkey on my shoulder, and what I do is I throw it across the room to get rid of it." And she literally had a toy stuffed monkey on her desk, and she would throw it across the room. But when you work with ACT, what it teaches is that thoughts and feelings are not the things that we control. They're more like kind of clouds in a sky or waves in the sea. They come and they go. And if you're constantly trying to throw it away, it's like trying to stand in the field and shout at the clouds, go away, go away. It's ineffective. And so your inner critic really is just a set of thoughts. It's a very well-established set of thoughts, probably with a very key theme often around not being good enough, but it is just thoughts. And so no matter how much we try not to think them or to delete them or to get rid of them or to ignore them, they do come back. And so when we use ACT, when we shared an ACT approach with this lady, what we're doing then is we're noticing and naming, and we're turning down the volume. And that woman that we worked with, she was so relieved because she said it was exhausting to constantly be trying to throw away the monkey. And she felt like there was no kind of ongoing solution. Oh, I've just got to keep throwing it away. Whereas actually, when you do notice a name and you diffuse with the thought, then actually you've got a more effective way to deal with it. It's less exhausting.